Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Today we're going to talk about how over the last 10 months I built a six-figure wholesaling business. I started wholesaling back in August of 2020 and now it's June 2021, and over this past 10 months or so I have created a six-figure wholesaling business. As of recording of this video, I have closed on 30 deals, and I actually, hopefully by the time this comes out, I should be closing on 2 or 3 more on top of that. But I'll be honest with you, it's been insane. It's been an insane journey, but there are certain things that if I didn't do them correctly, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So today I'm just gonna talk about my journey and kind of give you some tips along the way, so when you're starting your journey, you don't have to make the same mistakes as I did, or you can just mimic some of the stuff that I did so you can be successful as well. As always, I have my whiteboard behind me because I start talking about random stuff and I forget about the main theme of the video. So this is whiteboard is just to remind me about that. Let's start with number 1, consistency. This is so important. I couldn't even probably explain. Well, I mean, all of those 3 things that we're going to talk about today are going to be very important, but consistency is, I feel like, is extra important than anything else. So I have seen and I have been DM'd by multiple wholesalers over time that have done 1 deal or so, and then something may have happened in their life, or it was just their personal decision. They kind of stopped wholesaling, and it's not that they didn't like it, it's just kind of, well, I got my, whatever, $10,000 deal, I'm excited, it's time to move on and do other things, or, okay, great, I got the money, now I'm gonna go back to my job and not worry about wholesaling, because it is a business that takes a lot of energy and time. And then when that money runs out, and I don't know if they spend it on something else, but pretty much they didn't reinvest it back into the business. And when that happens, you're kind of at a starting point again. So everything that you struggle with in the beginning, you have to struggle with that again. This is something that's called law of momentum. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say you had a huge boulder that you tried to move, and the first initial push just to start and just to, bring it into motion is the most difficult one. After you have that boulder in motion, it's much simpler to just push it forward, and at one point it will be rolling without much of your help. Same thing goes for business. And if you push that boulder and you kind of stop, then it stops, and then you have to do it all over again. And it's a very complicated process. Starting the business is probably the first, whatever it may take. Some people may take a month, some people may take 2 months, 6 months, a year, I don't know. Everyone's paths are different, so I believe that initial process is probably the most complicated part of the business. So you want to avoid going through that process multiple times. So how you do that is by staying consistent, and you have to keep going, and you have to keep finding deals, etc. Only by staying consistent you can actually make a living on this business, and I feel like that's any business, to be honest with you. If you're not consistent, yeah, we'll fire up maybe once in a while, but can you live off that? I'm not really sure. And even if you can, is that the life you really want to be living, or can you improve your life by staying more consistent? Now I'll talk about organizing. So staying organized. Staying organized, and I think I've mentioned that in previous videos before, it's super, super, super important. The reason why it is important is because when you are a business owner, if you're self-employed, or however you want to call it, you don't have anyone on top of you to tell you what to do. Nobody's looking over your shoulder and telling you, hey, you're not doing this right, you should be doing this, or why you're slacking, why you're on TikTok for an hour instead of doing and working on your business. Nobody's gonna be telling you that. So for you to be successful, staying organized is incredibly, incredibly important. And it is important in the beginning, I feel like more than any other time. It is important, I believe, throughout the entire journey. But in the beginning, if you don't stay organized, those two, the organization and the consistency, kind of go together. So if you're not organized, you won't be consistent. If you're not consistent, you won't be organized. But they're 2 separate things. When I talk about being organized, I kind of more talk about time management, and that you prioritize events throughout the day in the way from top to bottom as the ones that are gonna benefit you the most, they're the ones that are gonna benefit you the least. And during that time, during the time you're starting the business, you may have to spend less time with your friends, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, your family. That's what it's gonna be. I believe that it's still, you have to sacrifice something to achieve something. So I believe but you're not really sacrificing if you look at it a little bit differently. Sacrificing doesn't sound so fun, and I understand that. And it definitely is not the best part about the business, because you can lose relationships with your friends, with your family, your significant other, and all that kind of stuff that can happen throughout the process. But instead of sacrificing, the way I like to call it is investing in yourself. Because when you're starting off, everything that you have, and I think the most important thing that you have, is your time. You might have some money saved. If you do, good for you. I didn't, and I believe that a lot of people that try to start this business, they don't really have a lot of money saved. So instead of money, everything that you really have is your time. And instead of spending time at the club, at the bar, or going out, you might have to sacrifice your weekends, sacrifice your Friday nights, and work on your business. If that's what you want to do, and if you actually want to achieve something in this business or any other business, it is incredibly important. And that's what I did. And that's what I did for probably first, I want to say 8 months, maybe 9 months, to be honest with you. Only the last month I've been kind of a little bit more relaxed and been able to hang out with my friends, with my girlfriend, and my family. So that's why I want to say it's not that you have to be that way for the rest of your life. I believe it's not exactly true. When the business starts rolling and you actually have systems in place, you'll be able to designate some of that time that you had to designate to your business to something else. And actually, one of the biggest things that kept me organized was I actually take daily notes of everything that I have to do. I think I have about 10 to 15 different things that I have to do daily. So because I believe that is so important, I'm actually coming out with my own daily planner by the end of summer, and it will be available on Amazon. In this daily planner, I have included so many things that I believe have been detrimental for me during this process. I've had multiple designers help me out on the design of the product. I've had psychologists help me out how to create the parts in the planner that, for example, what we have is gratitude, affirmations, and habits. They have helped me how to create them in a way that this actually works. So unlike any other planner out there, we actually put a lot of effort into the psychological part of the planner besides the business, the regular daily planner organization part. There's no other planner that's done it the way we're doing it, and I'm super excited to have you guys try it out in the future and see if that helps you as much as I believe it will. The link to the Facebook group of the Daily Planner will be down below. You're more than welcome to join that Facebook group. We actually talk about certain design things still, because actually at the moment we're in the last stage of designing the planner. I've ordered samples from a manufacturer that I'm actually waiting to receive, hopefully within the next week or so. And I'm definitely going to be updating you guys when that comes in, and I'll be showing you a little more how this planner will be designed and everything that's gonna go inside of it. So if you want to have last minute updates and have an update when that starts coming out, exact the day of the release, please join the Facebook group down below. But let's get to actually number 3. This one is also very important. Well, all 3 of them are, that's why they're on the board. So number 3 is budgeting. Budgeting is a very sensitive topic. The reason why it's a sensitive topic, every time it comes to money, everyone has their own opinion on how you should budget your money. And I'm not here to tell you how to do it, I'm here to tell you how I did it, and that's how I believe I became successful. So a little bit of a background story. So when I started in August, I actually lost my job. And when I lost my job, I went on unemployment. For a couple months before the business actually started rolling, and I was able to start making money with my business. And it was a very tough period of my life because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was trying to manage every single dollar that I spent. I would never go out. I would, I live in an apartment that I rent out, and I was very careful about my money. I've been very careful about my money most of my life, but I think during that 2-3 months, whatever, that was one of the most difficult times of my life, to be honest with you. The reason why it was most difficult, because during that time I lost a lot of friends, because like I mentioned before, you actually have to designate your time to what you believe is most important. So budgeting is actually incredibly important in the beginning and throughout the journey. It's something that doesn't stop. When we talk about consistency, organization, they are incredibly important in the beginning, and throughout the journey, I think consistency is important, but like you can be a little bit less organized and have other stuff going on. maybe that's not the best way to do it, but your business will still keep moving. But if you are not correct about your budgeting, you actually can completely, even if you make money in the beginning, you can completely screw up your business. So no matter how much money I make, I actually don't buy designer clothes. I don't buy expensive things. I have not bought a new car. I have not bought this and that. I only buy things that are actually important for me and they're meaningful. However, during the last month, because I had one of the best months since I started the business, I did decide to spoil myself a little bit, and my girlfriend and I actually went on a vacation. It was a 3-day vacation, but I did spend a lot of money on there. However, that was the first time in 10 months that I've actually decided to spend money. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because in the beginning, you will feel like that you know, when you start getting that money, you will feel like, oh, well, maybe I could buy this, maybe I could do this. The best thing that you can do to yourself, to your business, is reinvest all that money back into the business. Take whatever you have to, whatever is needed for life, whatever is needed for you to pay your bills, and you know, obviously don't limit yourself to completely not living your life. I mean, if you want to eat out and you can afford it and doesn't screw up your budget, then do it. But eventually you will be able to start treat yourself a little more. I mean, even if I have a 6-figure business, am I, going out and buying a new Tesla? No, not at the moment, unless I may have to if it makes sense for taxes. But I still try to live that life, the same lifestyle that I lived before when I didn't have this money. And I think that's the most important part. This doesn't matter if you're a business owner, if you're not a business owner. When people start making more money, they're add to their lifestyle. So, they get an expensive car, they get a more expensive apartment, a house, whatever. But that defeats the purpose of making more money. Because materialistic things are not the things that actually will make you happy. They never will make you happy. What makes me happy, and I believe that a lot of people agree with me on this, is that the fact that I could, in the middle of the week or whatever I wanted, I could stand up and go for vacation for 4 days if I really want to. And having that freedom to do what I feel like is doing, spend time with my family, spend time with my loved ones, that is the happiness and that is the freedom. So I believe budgeting is actually much deeper than just like, oh, well, you shouldn't buy this t-shirt, buy this t-shirt, and you shouldn't buy this watch, buy this watch. It's not how it works. So it's just something to keep in mind. When you start making money, you really have to invest that money back into the business. You can invest it into other things. If you believe you're good in the stock market, you can invest it there. If you believe you're good, you can actually buy a rental property. And if you live in a state that you can afford buying a rental property at whatever money you made, go ahead and do it. That's the most important part, is that understanding that it is much easier, and I'm telling you this, it is much easier when let's say you were making $30,000, $40,000 a year and then you started making $200,000 a year. It's actually much easier for you not to add a lot of value to your life. I mean, I'm not saying live bad. I mean, if you now can afford a TV that's been broken and now you want to buy a new TV, sure, of course, that makes sense. And just maybe you want to upgrade your life a little bit, that's sure, but you have to be smart about it. But it's much easier. So if you lived a lower middle class, whatever lifestyle, and you start making much more money, it's much easier to keep that lifestyle and just save that extra money or invest that extra money that you're making and just trick your brain into understanding that you're not really making extra money, that's just going into future investments. And you will thank yourself later. It's much easier to do that than if you start making money and then you have to go to a higher lifestyle, but then you understand you have to start saving money. It's much more difficult go from that and go back down. The reason why it is much more difficult because at that point you have a more expensive house, more expensive car, other bills to pay, a lot of furniture, I don't know. But all that, it becomes a little bit more difficult. So it's better not to go up and then come back down. So something to keep that in mind. But alright guys, thanks for tuning into this episode. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions for me. As always guys,